The arrival that shook the stars. The morning shift on Andorian Trade Station 7 began like any other in the past 1,000 years. Station Commander Vex Thari glided through the central hub on her 4 graceful legs, her silver skin catching the gentle light from the system's twin suns. The Nexus system had been chosen as the galaxy's primary trade hub precisely because of its peaceful nature. No predators, no natural disasters, no conflicts for over 10 centuries. The station itself was a marvel of cooperative engineering. 7 different species had worked together to build the massive structure, each contributing their unique talents. The Andorians provided the elegant curved architecture that flowed like water through space. The Zephyrians added their crystal technology that made everything sparkle and gleam. The Kelthani contributed their bioorganic systems that kept the air fresh and clean. It was a symbol of everything the Galactic Cooperative stood for. Vex Thari paused at the observation deck, watching the morning traffic flow around the station. Cargo ships moved in lazy patterns, their hulls painted in bright colors that represented different trading houses. Passenger vessels carried tourists and business, travelers between the 17 inhabited worlds of the sector. Everything moved with the unhurried pace of a civilization that had forgotten what danger looked like. Trade Officer Genkai approached with the daily reports. His people, the Rithians, were natural record keepers, with their multiple arms allowing them to work on several documents at once. Station Commander, we have 47 incoming vessels scheduled for today, mostly routine cargo runs from the inner systems. Excellent work, Genkai, Vex Thari replied. Any unusual requests? Nothing out of the ordinary. The Valerian art traders want priority docking for their sculpture exhibition, and the Corinth musicians need special atmospheric controls for their instruments. Standard peaceful commerce. The word peaceful held special meaning in their society. The Galactic Cooperative had been at peace for so long that most species had evolved beyond the need for conflict. Wars were stories from ancient history, told to children as cautionary tales about the dark times before civilization. That peaceful morning was shattered at exactly 0947 station time. The first sign of trouble came from the long-range sensors. Junior Officer Pixelon, a young Zephyrian crystal reader, noticed an unusual energy signature appearing at the edge of their detection range. "Station Commander," she called out, her crystalline voice carrying a note of confusion. "I'm detecting something strange on the outer sensors." Vex Thari moved to the sensor station, her 4 legs carrying her with fluid grace. "What kind of strange, Pixelon?" "I'm not sure. It's massive, whatever it is. The energy readings are unlike anything in our databases. It's moving toward us." Before Vex Thari could respond, the main display erupted in warning lights. Emergency alarms began sounding throughout the station, a noise that hadn't been heard in living memory. The central hologram flickered to life, showing a real-time image of space around the station. There, hanging in the void like a dark omen, was a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The vessel was enormous, easily 3 times the size of their largest cargo haulers. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, covered in thick plating that looked like armor. Strange protrusions jutted from its surface, towers, antenna arrays, and angular structures that served unknown purposes. Most unsettling of all, the ship bore no resemblance to the curved organic designs favored by the peaceful races of the galaxy. This was something built by minds that understood conflict. "By the twin suns," whispered Genkai, his 4 arms trembling as he dropped his data tablets. "What is that thing?" Vex Thari felt her blood turn cold. In all her years of service, she had never seen anything so obviously designed for war. The ship's very presence seemed to radiate threat and violence. "Get me a full sensor sweep," she ordered, surprised by how steady her voice sounded. "I want to know everything about that vessel." The sensor arrays focused on the alien ship, sending waves of scanning energy across its hull. The results came back within moments, and they were terrifying. The ship's armor was incredibly thick, designed to withstand massive amounts of damage. Energy readings suggested multiple power sources, far more than any peaceful vessel would need. Most frightening of all, the scans detected what could only be weapon systems, arrays of unknown technology that could probably destroy their station with ease. Station commander, Pixlon's voice was barely a whisper. The computer estimates this ship could carry a crew of over 5,000. That's larger than our entire station population. As word of the alien warship spread through the station, panic began to take hold. The peaceful races of the galaxy had no experience with military threats. Their ships were built for comfort and efficiency, not survival. Their weapons were mining tools and construction equipment, not instruments of war. Faced with what appeared to be a vessel of pure destruction, they had no idea how to respond. Emergency communications flooded the galactic networks. Within minutes, every major world in the sector knew about the appearance of the alien dreadnought. Fear spread faster than light itself, as civilizations that had known only peace suddenly faced the possibility of extinction. Aboard the UES Defiant, Commander, Sarah Chen stood on the bridge and marveled at the alien space station before them. After 18 months of faster-than-light travel, humanity had finally reached another star system and found evidence of intelligent life. The station was beautiful, its curved architecture unlike anything humans had ever built. Ships moved around it in patterns that suggested a thriving civilization. Navigation, hold our position, she ordered. Communications, start working on first contact protocols. This is the moment we've been preparing for. Sarah was a career officer who had been chosen for this mission because of her diplomatic skills and calm demeanor. At 42, she had gray streaks in her black hair and laugh lines around her eyes that spoke of a life spent solving problems rather than creating them. She had volunteered for this mission because she believed in humanity's potential to make friends among the stars. The Defiant had been built with humanity's typical over-engineering philosophy. Earth was a dangerous world, and humans had learned to prepare for every possible threat. The ship's thick armor was designed to protect against asteroid impacts and radiation storms. Its powerful engines could escape the gravity well of a gas giant if necessary. Its weapons systems were meant to defend against space debris and unknown hazards in the void between stars. To humans, the Defiant was an exploration vessel built for safety. To the aliens watching it, it looked like a ship designed for conquest. Commander, called out Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. I'm picking up a lot of radio chatter from the station. The computer is working on translation, but the tone suggests they're agitated about something. Agitated? We've been following first contact protocols perfectly. We're maintaining a respectful distance and transmitting peaceful intentions. Dr. Kim Williams, the ship's xenobiologist, looked up from her instruments. Commander, I think they might be afraid of us. Look at our ship from their perspective. We probably look quite different from their vessels. Sarah studied the alien ships through the main viewer. Dr. Williams was right. The alien vessels were sleek and elegant with flowing lines and bright colors. The Defiant, with its angular armor and dark hull, stood out like a predator among prey. Well, that's not ideal, Sarah said. Communications? Prepare a full cultural package. Include images of Earth, human cities, our art and music. Show them we're a peaceful species. What Sarah didn't know was that the images of human cities looked like fortresses to the aliens. Pictures of humans in uniforms resembled warrior castes. Even human art, with its themes of struggle and triumph, suggested a warlike culture to beings who had never known conflict. Back on the station, the situation was deteriorating rapidly. More ships were arriving every hour as the galactic community mobilized every vessel they could find. Cargo haulers, passenger ships, research vessels, and mining platforms all converged on the Nexus system. None of them were warships. The galaxy hadn't built a true military vessel in over 1,000 years. But sheer numbers might be enough to overwhelm the alien invaders. Fleet Coordinator Thexmar found himself in command of the largest gathering of ships in galactic history. His species, the Quellians, were natural organizers, but organizing a fleet for battle was far beyond his experience. He had spent his career coordinating trade routes and scheduling cargo deliveries, not planning military campaigns. How many ships do we have? He asked his staff. Over 12,000 vessels have responded to the emergency call, replied his aide. More are arriving every hour. 12,000 ships, Thexmar repeated. Surely that's enough to face one alien warship, no matter how powerful it is. But even as he spoke, he felt doubt creeping into his mind. The alien ship looked so confident, so prepared for battle. It hung in space like it owned the system, making no aggressive moves but radiating an aura of barely contained violence. Its crew had probably spent their entire lives preparing for war, while his people couldn't even remember what their ancient weapons looked like. On the Defiance bridge, the crew was becoming increasingly concerned about the growing number of alien ships surrounding them. What had started as a few dozen vessels had grown into a massive fleet that stretched in all directions. "Commander, we're now surrounded by over 10,000 alien vessels," reported Lieutenant Martinez from the tactical station. "They're maintaining a distance of about 50,000 kilometers, but they have us completely boxed in." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. 10,000 ships was more than the entire human space fleet. If these aliens decided to attack, the Defiant wouldn't stand a chance no matter how well armed it was. "Any sign of hostile intent?" she asked. "Hard to say, Commander. Most of their ships don't appear to have weapons, but with those numbers they could just ram us and achieve the same result." Dr. Williams was studying the alien fleet through her instruments. "Commander, I'm reading the energy signatures from those ships. These aren't military vessels. They're civilian ships, cargo haulers, passenger transports, research vessels. It's like they gathered every ship they could find and brought them here." "Civilian ships?" Sarah frowned. "Why would they bring civilian ships to face what they think is a warship?" The answer, when it came to her, was more troubling than she had expected. "They don't have a military fleet," she said quietly. "These people have been at peace for so long that they've forgotten how to build warships. They're facing us with whatever they have because it's all they have." The realization changed everything. These weren't aggressive aliens preparing to attack humanity. They were peaceful people who were terrified of what they saw as an invasion. The massive fleet surrounding the Defiant wasn't a show of force. It was an act of desperate courage by people who had no choice but to fight with whatever tools they had. "Open a channel to the station," Sarah ordered. "Full diplomatic protocols. Let them know we're here to talk, not to fight." As the first tentative communications began between the two species, neither side realized they were standing at the beginning of a relationship that would transform both civilizations. The humans, with their hard-won survival instincts and protective nature, would learn to be guardians of a peaceful galaxy. The aliens, with their advanced technology and cooperative spirit, would help humanity grow beyond its violent past. But first they had to overcome the fear and misunderstanding that had brought 12,000 ships to face one human vessel in the darkness of space. The truth behind human strength. The first direct communication between humans and the Galactic Cooperative came through a series of mathematical equations and simple pictographs. Both species had prepared for this moment, but neither had expected it to happen under such tense circumstances. The translation computers worked overtime, gradually building a bridge between two completely different ways of understanding the universe. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the Defiance Communication Center, watching as the alien language slowly resolved into something approaching English. The first complete message was both formal and desperate. "Unknown vessel, this is Station Commander Vexithari of the Galactic Cooperative. We wish to avoid conflict. Please state your intentions." Sarah took a deep breath before responding. "Station Commander Vexithari, I am Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Defiant. We are explorers from the planet Earth, seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent species. We have no hostile intentions." The response came quickly. "Commander Chen, your vessel appears to be a warship of significant capability. We are a peaceful civilization. Why do you approach us with such overwhelming force?" Sarah looked around the bridge at her crew, seeing the same confusion on their faces that she felt. "Overwhelming force? We're one ship. You have thousands of vessels surrounding us." There was a long pause before the next message arrived. "Commander Chen, we would like to arrange a meeting between our representatives. Perhaps direct communication will help us understand each other better." Within hours, arrangements were made for a face-to-face meeting aboard the Andorian trade station. Sarah would lead a small diplomatic team, including Dr. Williams and their cultural specialist, Dr. James Park. The aliens had agreed to provide an escort of their own diplomatic personnel. As the human shuttle detached from the Defiant, Sarah couldn't help but notice how the alien fleet reacted. Ships that had been maintaining careful distances began moving closer together, as if preparing for some kind of coordinated action. She made a mental note to move slowly and carefully. These people were clearly on edge. The shuttle bay of the Andorian trade station was unlike anything humans had ever seen. The walls curved organically, covered in what looked like living crystal formations that provided a soft, warm light. Breathable atmosphere had been confirmed, but the humans kept their environmental suits on as a precaution. Station Commander Vexithari was waiting with a delegation of 4 other beings, each representing a different species from the Galactic Cooperative. Sarah had studied their images during the shuttle flight, but seeing them in person was still remarkable. Vexithari herself was tall and graceful, with silver skin and 4 legs that ended in what looked like hands. Her movements were fluid and elegant, like a dancer made of liquid metal. "Commander Chen," Vexithari said, her words coming through the translation device with only a slight delay. "Welcome to our station. I must admit, you are not what we expected." Sarah removed her helmet, revealing her human features. "What did you expect, Station Commander?" "We expected warriors," said another alien, this one with 6 arms and red skin. "Your ship is clearly built for battle. Your people wear uniforms that suggest military organization. Yet you seem peaceful." Dr. Williams stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming diplomatic protocol. "May I ask what your people consider to be a warship? Because from our perspective, the Defiant is an exploration vessel." The aliens exchanged glances that seemed to communicate volumes. Finally, Vexithari spoke. "Dr. Williams, our people have been at peace for over 1,000 years. We have no warships because we have no wars. But your vessel has thick armor, powerful engines, and what our sensors indicate are multiple weapon systems. To us, this appears to be a ship designed for conquest." Sarah began to understand the scope of the misunderstanding. "Station Commander, may I ask about your homeworld? What is it like?" Vexithari's expression, as much as Sarah could read alien facial expressions, seemed to soften. "My world is called Andoria Prime. It is a peaceful place with gentle weather, abundant resources, and no dangerous predators. Our greatest natural disaster is the occasional thunderstorm. We evolved in paradise, Commander Chen. We have never known the need to fight for survival." Dr. Park spoke up. "That explains a great deal. Station Commander, our world is very different from yours. Earth is a dangerous place, with violent weather, natural disasters, and aggressive predators. Humans evolved by learning to survive in one of the most hostile environments in the known galaxy." "Hostile?" asked the 6-armed alien. "How hostile?" Dr. Williams began explaining Earth's environment, using the translation device to share images and data. The aliens watched in fascination and growing horror as she described hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and ice ages. She showed them images of Earth's predators: sharks, tigers, bears, and venomous snakes. She explained how humans had learned to use tools and weapons not for conquest, but for basic survival. "You mean these weapons on your ship are not for attacking other species?" asked Vexithari. "They're primarily defensive," Sarah explained. "Space is dangerous. There are asteroid fields, radiation storms, and gravitational anomalies that could destroy an unprepared vessel. The Defiant's armor protects us from micrometeorites. Our engines are powerful enough to escape a collapsing star. Our weapon systems are designed to clear debris from our path or defend against unknown threats." The revelation hit the aliens like a physical blow. They had been preparing for war against a species that had built their ships not for aggression, but for survival, in a universe they considered hostile. The humans weren't conquerors. They were explorers who had learned to be prepared for anything. "But surely," said another alien, this one with crystal-like skin, "your people must be warriors by nature. Your history, your culture, everything suggests a species built for conflict. Dr. Park nodded slowly. Our history does include a great deal of conflict, but that conflict taught us the value of peace. We fight when we must, but we prefer to build, to explore, to create. The same instincts that helped us survive on Earth now drive us to protect others. Sarah added, "We didn't come here to conquer anyone. We came here hoping to find friends among the stars. We've been alone for so long, and the thought of finding other intelligent species, it's been humanity's greatest dream." Vexthari was quiet for a long moment, processing this information. Finally, she spoke. "Commander Chen, I think we have misjudged your people. You are not invaders. You are guardians. Your strength comes not from a desire to dominate, but from a need to protect." "That's exactly right," Sarah said. "We're strong because we had to be. But we use that strength to shield others from harm, not to cause it." The meeting continued for hours as both species shared their histories, their cultures, and their hopes for the future. The aliens were amazed by humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The humans were inspired by the galaxy's achievement of lasting peace. Gradually, fear gave way to curiosity, and curiosity gave way to friendship. As news of the successful first contact spread through the galactic networks, the massive fleet surrounding the Defiant began to disperse. Ships that had been prepared for battle now approached the human vessel with scientific curiosity. Cultural exchanges began immediately, with the aliens eager to learn about the species that had turned survival into an art form. Dr. Williams found herself in constant demand as alien scientists wanted to understand how life could evolve on such a dangerous world. The humans, in turn, were fascinated by the advanced technology and cooperative philosophy of the Galactic Cooperative. Both species realized they had much to learn from each other. Commander Chen established a regular communication schedule with Station Commander Vexthari, and the two began planning for humanity's integration into the galactic community. The process would take time, but both species were committed to building a relationship based on mutual respect and understanding. Within weeks, the first alien delegation was invited to visit Earth. When they saw humanity's homeworld for themselves, the violent storms, the dangerous wildlife, the constant geological activity, they finally understood why humans had evolved to be so resilient. They also understood why humans valued peace so highly. A species that had fought for survival for millions of years would never take safety for granted. The Galactic Cooperative welcomed humanity not as conquerors, but as protectors. The galaxy's peaceful races had forgotten how to defend themselves, but they had never forgotten the value of friendship. In exchange for human protection, they offered technology, knowledge, and the chance to be part of something greater than any single species could achieve alone. Years later, when other aggressive species emerged from the dark corners of the galaxy, they found themselves facing not just human warships, but an entire civilization that had learned to combine strength with wisdom. The peaceful races of the galaxy no longer lived in fear, protected by humans who had turned their survival instincts into a force for good. Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood on the bridge of her flagship and watched human and alien vessels working together in perfect harmony. The Defiant had been retired to a place of honor, but its legacy lived on in every ship that carried both human strength and alien wisdom into the unknown. The galaxy had found its guardians, and humanity had found its purpose among the stars. In the end, both species had gained something they had been searching for without knowing it. The humans had found acceptance, and the aliens had found protection. Together they faced the future with confidence, knowing that strength and peace could coexist when guided by wisdom and friendship. The first contact that had begun with fear and misunderstanding had become the foundation of a galactic civilization that would endure for millennia, and it all started with one human ship, carrying explorers who had learned that the greatest strength comes not from the ability to destroy, but from the willingness to protect those who cannot protect themselves.